Dear students, by watching this video, you can learn about the accounting equation. Before moving on to the examples, there is a point that you should know. In accounting, we consider the owner and the business as separate entities. The owner and business have separate existence. Now look at the accounting equation, assets equal equity. Just assume the owner invests 500,000 rupees in the business. This is cash. Cash is an asset. Then this will increase the asset level of the business by 500,000 rupees. Therefore, we write here as 500,000. Just as this cash is an asset, it is the owner's money. In the accounting equation, equity means the owner's share of the business. Because of this 500,000, the owner's share will be increased. So we should write 500,000 in the equity column. This money is the first investment of the owner. Just assume you want to start a business. So you invest 500,000 rupees at first. There is a specific name that we use for this 500,000. We call it capital. With the business expansion, they will need outsiders' money. Just assume obtain a bank loan of 300,000 rupees. This is cash. So it is an asset. The asset will be increased by 300,000 rupees. Therefore, we write as plus 300,000 in the asset column. A bank loan is a liability. We already discussed it. Therefore, we write 300,000 rupees in the liability section. Now here, there is no liability section. We add a liability section for this accounting equation. We use the plus sign here because with the bank loan, the liability is increasing. When you are writing transaction in the accounting equation, you must write the name of the asset within bracket. Name of the equity and liability. Now take the summation of each column. Total asset balance is 800,000 rupees. Equity is 500,000 rupees and total liability is 300,000 rupees. Now here you can see that the total assets are equal to equity plus liabilities. When we solve an accounting equation problem, the closing balances of assets should be equal to equity plus liabilities. Now let's discuss these examples. Look at example number 1. The owner invested 800,000 as capital. Now let's see how to write this transaction in the accounting equation. When we are solving an accounting equation problem, firstly we should write the equation. What is the accounting equation? Assets equal equity plus liabilities. Now what is the first transaction? The owner invested 800,000 rupees as capital. With this transaction, assets level is increasing by 800,000. So we write it here as 800,000 cash. This is the owner's money. Therefore, equity should be increased by 800,000. Here we write plus 800,000 capital. Next transaction, purchase furniture for 100,000. Now here, when we buy things, we should spend our cash and we should sacrifice our asset. The asset should be increased by 100,000 because we receive new furniture. Furniture is an asset. We spent money to buy this furniture. Therefore, our cash should be decreased by 100,000. Now we write it here as minus 100,000. Third one, obtain a bank loan of 300,000. Now let's see how to write this transaction in the accounting equation. With the bank loan, we receive money. Then our assets should be increased by 300,000. Now here we receive cash from a bank loan. Now our liability should be increased by 300,000. Now we write it like this, plus 300,000 bank loan. Now we take the summation of each column. Now here plus 800,000 plus 100,000 plus 300,000 minus 100,000. Total asset balance is 1,100,000. Equity is 800,000. Total liability is 300,000. Here we can see total assets are equal to equity plus liabilities. It means we solve this problem correctly. Now look at example number 2. Nehara started a business to repair computers. The following transactions are given to you for the first month of the business. Now here you can see this is a computer repair shop. So when it comes to this type of business, their stocks should be computer items. Their inventory is computer items. If Nehara bought some computer parts, it's not a fixed asset. It is an inventory. Look at the first transaction. Invested 500,000 rupees as the capital. Now let's see how to write this in the accounting equation. Now here you can see an Excel sheet. I am using an Excel sheet to explain this problem to you. You must write this in your books. Now here you can see, firstly, I wrote down the equation. According to the first transaction, Nehara invested 500,000 as the capital. Nehara invested money. Cash should be increased by 500,000. Now here cash increases by 500,000. This is Nehara's money. It means the owner's money. We should write it in the equity column plus 500,000. The second transaction obtained a bank loan of 200,000 rupees. Now from this transaction, Nehara received money. What is the amount? 200,000. So cash should be increased by 200,000. This is a bank loan. This is a liability. Therefore, liability should be increased by 200,000. The third one, deposited a 100,000 rupees in a fixed deposit account. A fixed deposit is an asset. Therefore, the fixed deposit value should be increased by 100,000. To open a fixed deposit, we should take cash from our cash drawer. When it comes to this type of problem, this cash column should be considered as a cash drawer. If you consider this cash column as your company's cash drawer, when you are taking cash out, the cash balance should be decreased. Now here, the cash balance will be decreased by 100,000. So we should write it as minus 100,000. We take cash out from our cash drawer and we deposit it in the bank. Then our fixed deposit amount is increased by 100,000 and our cash amount is decreased by 100,000. Fourth one, earn a cash income of 60,000 from computer repairs. Now here this is revenue because this has been earned. So cash should be increased by 60,000. Because here we received money, when we received money, we put it inside the cash drawer. So this should be increased by 60,000. Income belongs to the owners. So equity should be increased by 60,000. Fifth one, paid 10,000 rupees as the monthly rent for the business. Now to pay the rent, you have to take cash out of your cash drawer. It should be minus 10,000. Expenses should be borne by the owners. So it will decrease the equity. Here we should write minus 10,000. The sixth one, Nehara withdrew 20,000 rupees from the business for her private use. Now here we use a special name for this. What is that name? Drawings. We called it drawings. Now she takes cash out of the drawers. So it should be minus 20,000 here because of the drawing. Because of the drawings, equity amount decreased by 20,000. The seventh one, purchase equipment at 100,000 rupees. Now here the owner purchased equipment. We are getting new equipment. So the equipment value should be increased by 100,000. To buy this equipment, we should spend cash. So the cash amount should be decreased by 100,000. This is a cash outflow. Number 8. 5,000 rupees of the telephone bills for the month. A telephone bill is an expense. Cash decreases by 5,000. Equity should be decreased by 5,000. When it comes to expenses, they should be borne by the owner. Number 9, invested an additional capital of 50,000 rupees. Now here company received money. So plus 50,000 here because it is cash. The owner's share should be increased by 50,000. Settle 20,000 rupees of the bank loan. Now here we take cash out, it is 20,000 and the bank loan will be decreased by 20,000 because we paid the bank loan. Now take the summation of each column. The total cash balance is 555,000. Now let's calculate the total equity balance. 575,000. Now let's calculate the total liabilities. 180,000. Equipment 100,000. Fixed deposit 100,000. Now add all assets together. Equipment balance plus fixed deposit balance plus cash balance. The total asset balance is 755,000. Now add the equity balance and the liability balance. 575,000 plus 180,000. 755,000. Now here assets equal equity plus liabilities. Now look at example number 3. The following balances were extracted as at 1st of August 2025 from Sandamini's business. Here you can see the opening balances of assets and liabilities and the transactions. Here we can see the opening balances of assets and liabilities. Firstly, we should calculate the opening balance of equity. Now let's see how to calculate it. Firstly, write down the equation. Assets equal equity plus liabilities. Take liabilities to the left side, then it becomes minus assets minus liabilities equal to equity. Now substitute the values. Furniture 300,000, stocks 200,000, debtors 100,000, cash 200,000. Bank loan 300,000, creditors 100,000. The total asset value is 800,000. The total liabilities are 400,000. The opening balance of equity is 400,000. Now it's easy to solve this problem. Now firstly we should write the opening balances. Furniture 300,000, stocks 200,000, debtors 100,000, cash 200,000, equity 400,000. We already calculated it. Bank loan 300,000. Creditors 100,000. Now look at the first transaction. Purchase goods at 100,000 rupees to sell. It is stock. We bought goods to sell, not to keep. It is stocks. Then the value of the stocks should be increased by 100,000. To buy stocks, we need money. Then the cash amount decreased by 100,000. The second transaction sold goods which were purchased at 100,000 rupees for 125,000 rupees. It's goods which were purchased for 100,000 and we sold it for 125,000. Here we take 100,000 stock from our warehouse to sell and we receive 125,000 cash from that sale. Now here you can see the cost is 100,000 and the revenue is 125,000. So we earn 25,000 profit. Profit belongs to the owners. Therefore, equity should be increased by 25,000. The third one, settle 50,000 of the bank loan. We should take cash out minus 50,000 and liabilities will be decreased by 50,000. And the bank loan will be decreased by 50,000. Paid 10,000 rupees as salaries. Now we take 10,000 from our drawer. It is an expense, so equity should be decreased by 10,000. Sandhamini withdrew goods at a cost of 20,000 rupees for her private use. This is a drawing, but here Sandhamini doesn't take money, she takes goods. It means the stock value should be decreased by 20,000 and the equity should be decreased by 20,000 because it is drawing. Purchase furniture at rupees 50,000 for the use of the business. We receive a new asset, it is furniture. The value is 50,000 rupees plus 50,000. And we need money to buy furniture, then we have to take 50,000 out of our drawer. The seventh one, purchase goods at 200,000 rupees on a credit basis. We purchase stocks on a credit basis, so we don't pay money and we don't need to think about cash here because we purchase it on a credit basis. We receive stocks of 200,000 plus 200,000 and we owe to our suppliers now. So creditors increase by 200,000 plus 200,000. Sold goods at 100,000 rupees on credit basis. These goods had been purchased at 60,000 rupees. The goods were sold on a credit basis. The cost of the goods was 60,000 minus 60,000. Because this is on a credit basis, debtors value increases by 100,000. The profit from this sale was 40,000. This 40,000 belongs to the owners. So the equity balance should be increased by 40,000. Next, received 80,000 rupees from debtors. Received cash. Cash balance increases by 80,000. Debtors balance decreases by 80,000. Paid 50,000 to creditors. The cash amount should be decreased by 50,000. We pay money to our creditors, so our liability decreases by 50,000. Now take the summation of each column. Furniture 350,000, stocks 320,000, debtors 120,000, cash 145,000, equity 435,000, bank loan 250,000, and creditors 250,000. The total asset balance is 350,000 plus 320,000 plus 120,000 plus 145,000. The total asset balance is 935,000. Equity plus liability balance is 435,000 plus 250,000 plus 250,000. Equity plus liability balance is 935,000. Total assets equal equity plus liabilities.